What is going on, good people? Rick Ucchino here. Dutch Mantell here. SP3 not joining us here tonight for Smack Talk as he is in Chicago. He was at Rampage. He's living it up. I'll be joining him there tomorrow as I'll be leaving at 6 a.m. in the morning to drive up to Chicago for All Out weekend. Looking forward to it. Dutch, this is a really, really big weekend for professional wrestling, and I thought it kicked off in a pretty good way tonight with both SmackDown and Rampage.
I think SmackDown tonight was probably the best SmackDown I've seen since I've been on this show.
Wow.
Now, we know that they've been a creative change. And
yes.
you can tell it. You can tell it just by looking at SmackDown. The show was smoother. It was. It actually got more people over. Introduced some new things. And if I had
a bit edgier tonight, a bit edgier.
Oh yeah, it is. If 10's being the best that they can do, I would give this an 8.5. That's pretty high.
Wow. That's pretty high, especially. Oh, yes. Yeah. I thought the opening was very, very good. This was a match that I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for because we've seen this rivalry kind of just drag on and on and on and on. But that open match was a heck of a lot of fun. I loved the atmosphere of it about how they turned the ring into the Viking ship and they had all the shields and they used the the Titantron and all the digital boards to put the water out there. And there was some innovative offense in that match. They carried that whole first quarter of the show and it was absolutely spectacular. Right team won. You can move on from that. And then it just kept going from there. I thought Ronda Rousey tonight had her best promo that she's ever had
because
in WWE.
She fits the role. That's what she wants to be. She wants to be a heel. I thought this would be like a maintenance show since the pay-per-view is tomorrow. I thought it'd just be a maintenance show, but it wasn't. It actually introduced several new things that I enjoyed. And I think the people are ready for them. I think, and you can tell the crowd, they were really, really enjoying it.
Yes, they were, which was incredible because I don't remember them being that loud this is the same crowd as last week. They filmed both of these shows on the same night. Mm-hmm. I feel like I remember last week's crowd being dead, and this week they were all about it. So I don't know if they shot this show first or what have you, or the crowd just finally woke up for the second show. So I mean, this is it was insane. It was like a night and day crowd experience, or maybe they just genuinely didn't enjoy the show last week, like a lot of people didn't. So.
But much improved.
Oh,
see, when I saw the Vikings and then New Day, I went, oh, God, again?
Yeah.
So that's why they had to step it up, and they did. And the Vikings, I think since the first time I saw them, I guess we saw them but for the first time together, I'm thinking, I don't have a lot of hopes for these guys, which shows you what creative can do for talent if they just want to do it or if they have liberty to do it. Now we know that how much a difference Vince did make with the creative team. Even if they had a new idea, if he poo-pooed it, it never got off the ground. So I think now Triple H, and you also got to say that I think Road Dogg had a lot to do with this show, because it had a lot of Road Dogg. To me, his fingerprints were all over it in different places. So,
such as?
Well, it's just the way it went. Just sometimes the little things you don't notice, but it just fits perfectly. It just looks like a Road Dogg in a Triple H production, and I enjoyed it totally from the last, 6 months, 8 months. So, and you don't have to actually be an expert and watched it that much. If I had sat down and I'm a new fan and I watched the show, I would have came away the same way I came away tonight. I said, damn, that's not a bad show. Now, if I remembered it from 6 months ago, I would say, wow. And the same thing I'm saying now. Much improved show, and my hat's off to them for that.
Feel free to get your comments in, guys. We'll be here for about another 40 minutes or so, breaking down everything. Richard asking, any news on Bray Wyatt coming back? No, zilch, zada, zero. Really, the only thing that we've heard about Bray Wyatt that's definitive in the last few weeks was from Sean Ross at Fifeful.com, who said that there are those within WWE who feel it is much more likely that he would return to the company with Triple H in charge, but that is hardly any kind of guarantee. His name has been mentioned backstage. I know Ariel Helwani, who sat down for an hour and 15 with Triple H this week, talked to him about several superstars coming back, including Sasha Banks and Bray Wyatt. No definitive answers there. I wish I could tell you what he said about Bray Wyatt, but I haven't gotten to that point yet in the interview. I'm only about 50 minutes in. But one person who is reportedly coming back on Monday, Dutch, according to PW Insider, will be Mr. Braun Strowman. This was a guy that was probably one of the more shocking releases of all the releases, because this guy was a prototypical Vince McMahon guy, right? Big, huge mother trucker, just an absolute, a showpiece. He's a freak physically. He's a special attraction. That's what I'm trying to say. He's a special attraction, homegrown guy, taught him everything that, WWE taught him everything he knew, turned him into a world champion. This is a guy that was tailor-made for Vince McMahon. Like, if Vince built a mold of a WWE superstar, it would be Braun Strowman. And then he gets released. That was very, very surprising to me. But now, reportedly, he is coming back. Does him coming back to the company do anything for you?
For me personally, not really, because I've never really been a fan of just the big guys, the big, strong guys, because you have to watch having a big, strong guy, because if he makes a showing or two and he's not overpowering or just overwhelming, he loses something. Because, anybody that's you're going to beat up, if you're a heel, they got to sell. And this guy selling wasn't really, really believable, because he was so much bigger than most of the guys he was going against. His sale would be a lot different, say Undertaker's sale or Kane's sale, or those are big guys too. But I think those big guys, you have to watch them losing steam more than you have to watch anybody else, because the people watch these guys. I mean, the little things they may sell, and they go, I don't know. Even though the people know what the game is, I think, how would you really get heat on this guy? It can be done, but you just can't go out there and hit him in the head with a 2x4.
Yeah.
That 2x4 and pull it out of his head and eat it. So,
yeah,
hard to get hit on it, I think.
Yeah, I think people will genuinely be happy, at least the casual audiences. I think the casual audiences will be happy that he's back. He is really over with the younger audience. The kids really liked Braun Strowman, because of course he is, right? He's just larger than life human being. Nice to kids and everything like that. The internet doesn't like Braun Strowman so much. At least that's what I've noticed since the report came out. The internet is not big on Braun Strowman, but I think he's going to get I think he's going to get a good pop on Monday. It'll be interesting to see if they bring him back as a babyface or a heel. I think baby might be the way to go, because I do think those casuals will be happy to see him back. And I think you got a bit of an overabundance of heels at the moment, so you might as well add a face to the group. It's going to be interesting to see where he falls on the card.
An overabundance of heels.
I think there's too many heels right now. I think they could use. Honestly, I'm surprised he's on Raw, because I think they need more depth on SmackDown than they do on Raw. I get it's a 3-hour show, but it's still surprising me they keep adding body after body. I mean, they just brought back Johnny Gargano, put him on Raw. Now they're bringing back Braun Strowman, they're putting him on Raw. So,
well, we'll have to see. Now, we've been praising creative quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because they have taken what we actually considered almost a useless situation and have turned it around in 3 weeks, which shows you what good creative can do. And I've been on creative teams. If the territory of the company is doing good, it's what great talent. But if it's not doing good, it's how stupid the writers are. Creative is the stupidest people in the world, because I've been there. But we'll see about Mr. Strowman, and I hope he does well. Listen, before we get any deeper into the show, we were asked, and I don't mean to change subjects. We
Yeah.
were asked by a person that I won't name to discuss the fact about Tony Khan with AEW
Yeah.
giving CM Punk 8 minutes to explain his situation, yet at the same time, he didn't give Ruby Soho in a similar situation. He
Thunder
gave her a
Rosa.
minute. So, what do you think about that? And I'll tell you what I think.
So the quote from Tony Khan when he was asked about that, because there were a lot of people that that were critical of that situation. Heck, they showed the side by side with a sped up video with Thunder Rosa doing her backstage promo. That was about
it's Thunder Rosa. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I knew what you meant. Thunder Rosa backstage, 45 seconds or so, relinquishing her champion. Well, not really relinquishing, but just saying she couldn't defend it, right? And she was hurt and emotional, yes, but it was very, very dismissed on television. It was just see you later. And there were people who were criticizing that because CM Punk, who had just relinquished his belt about a month or so earlier, got a full 8-minute promo. Now, Tony took that criticism quite literally, saying that CM Punk is a much bigger draw than Thunder Rosa, and nobody can really talk like CM Punk, and he can carry 8 minutes, and she can't carry 8 minutes, and this, that, and the other thing. I don't think anybody was sitting here saying that, oh, you should have given Thunder Rosa an 8-minute promo to open up the show and say that she's injured and she's not. Can we give her 2-3 minutes? Can we give her 2-3 minutes? Can she at least go out to the center of the ring and say that she can't defend her women's world championship? I think that was the big criticism. It's not that you're saying, oh, she should be treated equally as CM Punk. I think all the women should be treated equally as far as the men is concerned. But it's like to say your excuse for that is, oh, well, she's not as big a draw as CM Punk. My thing is, who is? Who's the big?
Me and you.
Why?
We're pretty big.
Well,
draw.
obviously, yeah. I mean, yeah, we draw the big numbers here on Smack Talk for sure. But it's like, okay, well, Hangman Adam Page isn't as big a draw as CM Punk. So you're telling me if Hangman had to relinquish the AEW World Championship, you wouldn't be giving him an in-ring promo, for at least 4 or 5 minutes to relinquish his championship? That's where I'm at. It seems like a very hollow excuse, especially. Let me just say this last bit, and I'll let you go.
Here we go.
Especially when, for the last several months, you have put practically no effort in building up the rest of the women's division. You give us one match on Dynamite more often than not, and it's at that 9:20 slot where half of it's picture-in-picture. You maybe give us one match, unless it's a mixed tag match like we've got in the last couple of weeks on Rampage, and then everything else is all over Dark and Elevation. So it rang kind of hollow to me.
Well, I kind of agree with Tony Khan on this. I really do. Because he found himself in a situation. He just found out about Thunder Rosa a couple hours before the show. So he really didn't have time to think about it. And I will agree that she is nowhere near the draw that CM Punk is. And he had 2 situations almost identical. So I don't care how he handled it. He was going to be criticized one way or the other. So instead of criticizing fans, criticizing Tony, I'm going to criticize Tony myself. He needs to stop responding to all this. It's a thing that's gone now. Nobody really remembers it. He doesn't need to make a bigger issue out of it than it was. So a lot of people calling him misogynist and he doesn't like women. Well, I don't believe that either. Because he has a show to run. And if he had 2 8 minutes, let's say he had 2 5-minute promos. If he gave her 4 more minutes and took away some from CM Punk, you got 2 segments with champions relinquishing their titles. And I don't think that's ever happened before. And I don't think he knew how to handle it. And I think he just.
But one was a month. They weren't on the same show, though. One was months ago. This one was Thunder Rosa.
But it's still the same thing, even though it's not on the same show. It's still a similar situation. So I don't know.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you something. As somebody who has worked on a show, I have never worked on a nationally televised production before. You're a couple of hours away from the show and you have to make a major change. And we have seen that before very recently when Brock Lesnar walked out, right? About a couple of hours, few hours before SmackDown started, which, by the way, Triple H confirmed today was something that actually happened. So it wasn't a work. It actually happened. They had to pretty much rewrite a lot of SmackDown a few hours before the show. You're telling me that Tony Khan saying, I only found out a couple of hours beforehand, I couldn't find her any more time than what I gave her, which was 45 seconds, is a valid excuse. He couldn't move anything around it. Just give her 2 minutes. Just give her a walk down to the ring, 2-minute promo, instead of just here's a quick backstage and we're moving on. You're telling me that's a valid excuse?
Yeah, to me it is. But he could have given her more than 45 seconds. But I don't know. See, CM Punk can handle 8 minutes on live TV, even though it was taped, maybe.
Right.
But I don't know if she can handle even 2 minutes trying to do that, because it's the same situation. I think that's what he was afraid of. But I would have pre-taped it anyway and just stuck it in the show, late breaking news. I'd have made a bigger deal out of it than what I did, than what he did.
It definitely, and I think that was the biggest problem, is it just came off so dismissive. Like Thunder Rosa didn't matter. Like the AEW Women's Championship didn't matter. Even if you could sit here, even if you wanted to make that argument of, well, Punk's way bigger than Thunder Rosa, your AEW Women's World Title and your AEW Men's World Title should both be on equal footing, in my personal opinion. They're your two world championships. It was very dismissive of both Thunder Rosa and the championship, and I'm sorry, I'm not buying the excuse either way. That's just my personal opinion on it.
I'm gonna tell Tony you said that.
I'm fine. I'll tell him. I'll tell him myself in Chicago.
The phone right now and call him.
I'll tell him myself in Chicago.
I'm gonna say that damn Rick Ucchino guy. He's got it in for you, pal. So
I don't have it in for him. I just don't agree with him.
And while I'm on the subject of Tony Khan, he really needs to get off the internet. He needs to. He's like a fan trying to answer these questions. He don't know who these people are, and he works himself.
Well, this question,
he works himself into a shoe.
This particular question was asked during a media scrum, so it was asked on the All Out call that happened this week. So it wasn't just people on the internet. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, we got to run in. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We got a run in.
Ring the bell.
Set this up.
DQ.
Holy crap! There he is. It is
what's going on, yeah.
You have been getting my messages.
Yes, I just had jet lag for a while because I've had to come from the UK to go to Chicago, but I'm here. I am here.
So how was Rampage? Now, we haven't really started getting into either show yet because we've been talking about all the drama between Tony Khan and Thunder Rosa and the CM Punk comparisons, which I'm sure you have a lot to say about. So let's start there, because that's a perfect time slot there. Tony Khan during the media scrum this week was asked about the criticism between CM Punk and Thunder Rosa, and then he had to dive in and in my opinion, overspeak and talk about, well, CM Punk's a bigger draw than Thunder Rosa and this, that, the other thing. What was your opinion on what Tony Khan had to say? Because I know you're a big Thunder Rosa fan. What's your opinion on all of this that went down this week?
I feel like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy by Tony Khan. The reason why no woman is a draw or can draw more than an 8-minute CM Punk promo is because you don't present the women properly. Like, if he did that, I think then, and to be honest, CM Punk is their biggest draw. So he could have just said no 8-minute promo of anyone else is going to draw more than CM Punk. He didn't have to put Thunder Rosa in it. You can disagree with the comparison and just say that a CM Punk 8-minute promo is going to outdraw anything else. Keep it as that. You didn't have to undermine your women's champion, a woman that you presented as one of the biggest stars of your women's division, in that way. It doesn't look good. It brings out a bad image for you, brings out a bad image for your company, especially what WWE is doing with their women's division. It's just all around bad, and it's very short-sighted by Tony Khan to even say it.
And I do understand what he's trying to say. But again, it kind of rings hollow. And I said this minutes ago with the exact same thing that you said. If he didn't just spend the last few months giving us one women's match on Dynamite every week at 9:20 when half of it was in picture, I think that you put more weight into your women's division. And at least for me, okay, if you want to do the Thunder Rosa to CM Punk comparison, how about just putting a little bit more respect on your AEW Women's Championship? Because if you want to do a comparison of apples to apples here, you didn't put either one of those on the same platform with the men and the women's titles. So that's where I come down on that. It felt very dismissive, and honestly, I feel like he once again took criticism and got kind of put his foot in his mouth a little bit, which he tends to do. I understand what he was trying to say, but I just think he kind of hopefully misspoke a little bit. That's all I'm going to say on that. So how was Rampage tonight, good sir? Live from Chicago, Illinois.
The crowd was hot. I really enjoyed the opener, the trios match. It was exactly what I've been calling for on here, what I've been calling for on every other platform that I'm a part of. Hangman Adam Page joining up with the Dark Order, because Hangman being across the ring from Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks on Sunday, that's the best possible option. Anytime the Elite are across the ring from each other, we get an instant classic. I think no question in my mind, that's going to be the best match of the night on Sunday. And it was a nice little go-home show because they did different go-home angles, whether it was FTR's promo, Dax Harwood, one of the best promo guys in the business. He had the Motor City Machine Guns come out. I wish that we could have got a video package or something for the Machine Guns besides them having to tell their history in like under 2 minutes. This is saying even with the tag team division, Tony Khan does not devote time in the right places sometimes. But I thought the show overall was good showcase and a good final go home for the pay-per-view this Sunday. How you doing, Dutch? You don't look happy.
Well, I've been listening to Rick. Been listening to Rick bitch and carry on, and I'm saying, yeah, whatever, But we had a little discussion about Tony Khan. I think Tony talks a little too much for his own good. I think he just needs to clamp it down a little bit and just go with it. If people don't like something, don't just tell them that, no, I did this for this, this, and this. He'd been better off not even explaining, even though he was asked the question. See what I mean? I think he could have got out of the question in better shape than what he ended up. That's what I think.
By the way, SP3, don't worry. We didn't need a video package because we had Chris Jericho tonight on commentary call him the Detroit Machine Guns.
Gotta love Chris Jericho on commentary. Gotta love it. Luckily for me, we don't get the commentary when you're watching the bit. But we did get a nice little pull apart brawl between him and Bryan Danielson. I think after the show went off of there, they were still brawling.
We saw him face to face as the show went off the air, so we didn't get that full brawl. What we saw Hobbs and Ricky Starks obviously ripping to each other after the main event was over, but the show had cut before we got there. Question coming in from Kamar Bell here. We did get the main event for All Out that was set up on Wednesday. CM Punk signing the open contract. Question here for the panel: who do we think will win on Sunday between CM Punk and Jon Moxley? SP3, how you feeling? How you feeling on this one? This is kind of a weird booking situation with how they decided to book this match, how they decided to book CM Punk's return. I genuinely have no clue. Like, I think I could flip a coin on who wins this one.
I think I could say with almost certainty, I believe CM Punk is going to win on Sunday. I think that this was just setting up CM Punk in the challenger's position, fighting for Chicago. I thought the final build to the show was really great. And I would say all 3 of these weeks where they've really built up this matchup has been well done. From the promo exchange we got the week after Punk returned, to the pull apart brawl on that week, to the matchup where They threw a wrench into everything with Moxley destroying Punk in 3 minutes. And then this past week with a great promo from John Moxley, an excellent promo from Ace Steel, an even better promo from CM Punk. I think that Punk is going to win on Sunday, but I think he's going to do it in a mischievous way. I think these fans in Chicago, no doubt, are going to cheer him, but I think that this is going to be the setup for the CM Punk heel turn this Sunday.
I kind of agree with you in one spot. I think Punk will turn at some point. I'm kind of thinking that Moxley may come out on top in this one. He could, but there's so many doors open there, so they got so many avenues. I don't think they could screw this up. It can be screwed up, but I don't think they will. I'm going to go with Moxley this one because I think he's got a little bit of steam, and I think if they meet one more time, see him, that's when he.
Let me run an idea by you guys real quick that was brought up on another show that I was on this week. In which case that you have CM Punk and John Moxley. They've been going for about 20 minutes or so. They're beating the hell out of each other. CM Punk seems to be setting it up for the go to sleep. He's about to hit John Moxley with it. He's going to win the AEW World Championship in front of his hometown. And then MJF shows up and lays his ass out for a disqualification and ends the match. Moxley hangs onto the title, and then you get that nuclear Chicago heat melting down on MJF as he shows back up to close the show.
That's a good one.
I never think it's a good idea to end the show with a disqualification in the main event. And AEW seems immune to ending the show in that way. I could see something like kind of tell a complete story in a juxtaposition with how Punk won it the first time, where you had Hangman kind of thinking about using the AEW World Championship and then not using it. I could see Punk using the AEW World Championship to win the title. I think that would be a nice little full circle story that his desperation after getting destroyed by John Moxley led to him using the title, unlike Hangman did at Double or Nothing.
See, we've thrown back 3 or 4 different finishes just between us. That means all the doors are open. So now let's watch Tony. And, of course, he'll be influenced by Moxley and Punk. And let's see what they come up with. That's why people watch the show anyway.
Yeah, and that's why I genuinely can't pick a winner. I think this is a hard spot for Tony to book because you have Punk in his hometown. You want to give him that big moment, win the championship back, but you got John Moxley, who is in the midst of an absolute heater right now and is coming off of a match where he just decimated CM Punk. CM Punk injured his foot, and then the next week the foot is magically fine, and now he's questioning whether or not he's 100%. I know that there's a story there, but you still got John Moxley who's white hot. You want to give CM Punk that moment. That's why I almost kind of like the disqualification, is where you can kind of protect everybody. Nobody really wins. You keep the belt on Moxley, and now you've interjected MJF into the whole situation. So it's a tough decision to make for Tony Khan, but I'm interested to see what he comes up with.
But a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Bookers, they die for situations like that because. So if they just throw it around the dressing room back and forth, because he'll talk to them before Sunday, and they'll have a good finish for this. So we'll see.
I also think Ace Steel is going to be involved in the finish in some way. I think that they did it on purpose with having him come out to help Punk to the back in Cleveland, and then his promo on Dynamite. I don't think it's just a one-off. I think that he's going to be involved in this story. I said the perfect scenario where CM Punk cheats, but he'll still get a huge pop from the Chicago fans, and it will feel warranted, is that not only Ace Steel helps him win the title, but Colt Cabana, and just turn the wrestling world on its head and bring the Colt Cabana story to light, but he aligns with CM Punk.
That would probably alleviate any and all issues like CM Punk had on Wednesday, where you had people in the front row who were chanting Colt Cabana at him, and then he just says, whatever he said, screw you, fat boy, or I've been screwed more times than you have in your entire life, or this, that, and the other. Whatever it was that Punk dropped, it was just way out of there, and I'm like, oh, that's not a baby face line at all, but okay. Regardless, it's gonna be.
But that's Punk.
Oh,
Punk
yeah.
can get away.
Yeah.
He made a career out of it. So.
And then about 10 seconds later, he was like, I probably shouldn't have said that. That was, whatever. I've gotten in trouble with that before in the past. So, SB3, I did think this was a good showing for Blake Christian tonight. He had some really, really smooth moves, some great rope work from Ray Phoenix in that match as well. A quick match and one that kind of gives Ray some momentum heading into the casino ladder match, where the other big question is now, who's going to be the Joker, right? That's always the big question heading into these things. Is it going to be somebody coming into the company? I feel like it's going to be somebody already under contract, because they already kind of gave us that one big surprise earlier in the week with W. Morrissey showing up on Dynamite. So who are you thinking here? I'm thinking somebody maybe like Adam Cole, if he's been cleared, would make a ton of sense in that spot. What are you thinking as far as the Joker is concerned? Because I know somebody was asking in the chat, so I forgot to pull it up, but that was a question.
Well, the prevailing thought among the fans is MJF, because you would think that MJF, upon his return, is going to be immediately inserted into the main event scene in the world title picture. So this would kind of be their kind of shoehorn way to get him in there. And Adam Cole is another one that's been brought up a few times that I've heard over the last couple of days. And then we also got Samoa Joe, who they said is on his way back as well. So they like Dutch said before, Tony's in a good situation with the Joker as well going into All Out, because he has a plethora of options to either bring back or guys that he could sign.
Dutch, let me ask you a question about MJF, because that is the name that has been thrown out a lot of, yes, let's put him into this, have MJF return. He's in the ladder match. He can earn himself a world title shot. And I get all of that. I totally get all of that, especially if Punk has the title. It makes sense. Where it doesn't make sense for me is the last time we saw MJF on television, he was screaming at Tony Khan to fire him and called him an effing mark. So why would Tony Khan, upon MJF's return, immediately give him a chance to win a world championship? That's the disconnect for me, and why I don't think MJF makes sense in that spot. Your thoughts on that as a creator?
Are you saying MJF with Punk, or MJF in the casino battle?
Yeah, MJF in the Casino Battle Royal, where he has a chance to earn a world title shot. Why would Tony give him that opportunity after the last time we saw MJF? He was screaming to be fired and called Tony a mark.
What are you trying to make sense out of wrestling now?
I'm just asking. You're a creative genius. I'm trying to get your opinion on it.
60 years without trying to figure it out. We're still here, still trying to figure it out. We've tried to kill it for 60 or 70 years. We can't do it. It's been put on life support and everything else, but yet the business still continues. Again, I'm going to go back on this. Tony Khan has a lot of choices, a lot of alternatives. I would think I would put him in there with Punk. It's where I'd put him. I wouldn't waste him in an 8-man, because I think because that's not him. I think he needs to be. He's got to have direction. So I would put him somewhere. If I was going to engage him in something, I'd put him in there with Punk somewhere.
And the other thing, SB3, is I'd like the Joker to be somebody who's not MJF, because I think if they do put MJF in the ladder match, he's probably winning. I'd like it to not kind of fall into this repetition of, oh, here's the surprise guy, they're going to win. Here's the surprise guy, they're going to win. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's kind of been a crutch a little bit in AEW's brief history.
Well, if you look at like the Casino Battle Royal, the Joker doesn't always win that. It's just with the Casino Ladder match. Yeah, there's only been 2 others, but the Joker won both of those times. So I just think that with MJF, he can explain that. He's such a good promo guy. He can explain like, oh, Tony didn't know who the Joker was, and I walked into Gorilla, flipped him off, and then walked right past him. He can say that very easily, explain it. Dutch says, like, they've been doing this for years where stuff doesn't make sense at the offset, and then you got a good promo guy to explain it. I'm sure Dutch has been in that situation where he's had to explain something stupid and made it make sense. That's what MJF is for.
I've been in that situation. I have nothing the caliber of these guys we're talking about. So, but you make it work. And you can make a guy in that situation, you just put him in the right spot. He just happens to be there and he gets over. No guarantee, but he has more of a chance of getting over there. But if you put in a guy who's already over, it's just going to amplify him even more. So Tony, he's got some good choices, so I'm interested in what he's going to do. Can it be screwed up? Oh yeah, it can be all effed up. But let's see what he does.
All right, SP3. Before we let you go, now I know sometimes when you're in the live crowd, you don't see all the promos. So did you see the triple threat of Athena, Acclaimed, and FTR tonight? Did you see all three of those promo exchanges?
Well, the FDR one was in front of the fans, so I definitely saw that one. I saw the Swerve in Our Glory and Acclaim. That probably got the biggest response from the live fans who watched it on the screen. The Timon and Pumbaa line was great by Anthony Bowens, and then basically Swerve's response to them had everybody oohing and ahhing because Swerve came very aggressive on it. So that added some heat to that matchup. And Athena and Jade Cargill was really well done. I think that was the best Athena has come across on promos her entire career because I didn't like any of her promos as Ember Moon. So I think that this was more natural to Athena, who she is. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was just a kind of odd pacing with 3 back-to-back promos, but I thought all of them absolutely worked tonight. Don't want to keep you outside too much tonight, plus Dutch and I still got to get through all the SmackDown, which you're going to enjoy, by the way, because I said it earlier and I meant it. Your girl, Ronda Rousey, you want to talk about Athena having the best promo of her career? I could say the same thing for Ronda Rousey tonight. I thought she was spectacular. But you got your show still going on this weekend, yeah? Tomorrow?
Yes.
What do you got going on?
Follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3 tomorrow, 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time. We got True Hill Heat 191. Special guest Kate Elizabeth from Fightful. We're going to be talking about all the big weekend shows: WWE Clash of the Castle, NXT War Games, AEW All Out. So join us live for that True Hill Heat YouTube channel. That's TruHeelHeat. Check it out, and I'll be back here next Friday with you guys as per usual in the U.S. time zone this time. So that'll be nice.
Oh, that would be so great. That'd be awesome. And we're checking out GCW tomorrow, yeah?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. I think I'm going to the GCW event that's going on right now, so I just gotta get a ride over there and see if I can get in for that one too.
All right, man. Appreciate you checking in. Thank you so much.
Later, guys. Later, Dutch.
All right. Well, that'll.
I'm glad he's gone.
Well, that'll cover the Rampage portion of the show. So let's dive into SmackDown, Dutch, since we're the two that actually watched that show tonight. We talked about the opening match, Viking Raiders defeating the New Day. Again, this was really, really fun. I had low expectations heading into this match, much like you did. But I loved the effort that was put into it from the production, from the guys who were there. This was the Viking Raiders' best match since they've been in NXT. I think this is one of those matches where you kind of take for granted how talented all 4 individuals are, and then they go out there and they just remind you about how good they are. I thought that's what this opening matchup was tonight.
I love the double table spot.
That was great.
Very really good. Great. All these guys worked hard. They worked well together. And the first time I saw the Viking Raiders, I didn't have high hopes for them. But they never turned them loose and let them do what they can do. And they were in there with New Day, who can make anybody look good. Hell, they can make you look good, Rick. So
let's not go that far.
I don't think they're that good. No, they really made them look like killers. And I like the way, like you said, I like the way that they dressed the ring up. They made a production of it, and I think the crowd appreciated it. Good performance by everybody.
Yeah, during the old regime, they turned the Viking Raiders into a comedy act, if you can believe that or not. And there were some funny moments here or there, but it's nice to see them get back to being like those monsters. And even like when they first brought him back and they gave him the black eye paint, and they thought that they could get him over and show how tough they were by calling him new and vicious all over again. Like that was the old regime. This is the new regime of, oh no, we're just going to flat out murder people and throw you through tables and kick out of getting hit in the head with a unicorn horn sledgehammer, which I thought was hilarious. This was the best way to present the Viking Raiders. And again, it's building up the tag team division. All of a sudden now we're starting to get more and more tag teams that are viable and available, and a lot of heel tag teams, which is going to be great if and hopefully when Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win the tag team titles off of the Usos, which feels like it's coming like a freight train. We did get Liv Morgan going face-to-face with Shayna Baszler ahead of their match tomorrow. I loved this out of Liv Morgan tonight. This was kind of like a different side of her, because ever since she's won that championship, she's kind of been like a wounded animal, right? And the story has been, does she deserve it? Can she hack it? This, that, and the other thing. And this was like, you know what? No, I'm putting that all behind me. It's woman on woman. I don't care if you're a train killer and you're saying you're going to rip all my limbs off. I'm going to rip your damn arm off. I loved the intensity from Liv Morgan tonight. I thought this was a good backstage exchange.
Well, it was a big change from her, because before she was living the dream and she's accomplished it and she's crying, but now she's toughened up, has a little bit of steel edge to her, stood right in Baszler's face and said, bring it on. And you didn't need contact there. Just leave them like they are and pull them apart.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt it. And I think Liv Morgan kind of upped her worth tonight just a little bit. And I do like, let's get back on, who did you love in the girls tonight? You said in that interview with, who did you love tonight?
Well, just now?
No, you said
I love Ronda Rousey. Yeah,
Ronda Rousey. She went to the ring, and remember, we've been complaining she doesn't need to be smiling. She was not smiling tonight. She was smirking.
Yes.
Which is a big difference. Got in the ring, showed some personality.
Yeah.
The first time that I've seen her, because she's more in her element. Now she's a heel, and she was like against Adam Pearce tonight, she was more like a baby face, but yet it fit her character at the time.
She was snarky. She looked comfortable. And here's the most important thing. For the first time since she first showed up to WWE, she felt like she was having fun with a microphone in her hand.
So did Adam Pearce.
Yeah. Adam Pearce going off on Ronda Rousey and calling her the biggest bitch on the planet was spectacular.
Yeah.
Spectacular. And you felt it. You felt every word that he said, because it's probably true with all the BS that he's had to put up with over the course of the years and storyline angles and putting up with Sonya Deville. I loved how he was like, I don't have a problem with the board of directors. Hell, I wish they'd come down here and do my damn job and I wouldn't have to, but they won't travel 52 weeks a year. And he's just going off and off and off. And then all of a sudden he realizes he crossed that line, and then he realized he was about to get his ass.
Yes. And he also thought he may get his ass fired too, because he said maybe a little too much officially. But that was actually a good segment. And I think it helped both of them. Now, that's an angle between them.
Yes.
It just happened just by words. She put him down, was going to break his arm. So there's something's got to happen about that. I can't get over how much better SmackDown is now than it was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I wholeheartedly agree. Michael saying, funny part was when you heard her drop the microphone. Yeah, Adam drops the "you're the biggest bitch in the world," and then all of a sudden there's like some awkward silence other than the fans going, oh, and then all of a sudden you just hear, yeah. And that might have been the microphone, and also simultaneously just, Adam Pearce's soul just falling down knowing he was about to get his ass whooped. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And honestly, I loved that, this seems to be Ronda now pivoting away from the title scene. Like, I was wholeheartedly expecting she'd get reinstated, maybe even in time to be added to the Shayna Baszler Liv Morgan match at Clash at the Castle tomorrow. I don't think she's getting added to any world title opportunities anytime soon here. I know she got screwed at SummerSlam. She should have won. Referee missed it. Liv Morgan wins the match and hangs onto the title, a finish that literally nobody liked, including Liv Morgan. She told Ariel Helwani that, who's been very, very busy the last couple of days. But regardless, it seems like they're pivoting her away from that and letting Liv kind of now go toward other challengers, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top between herself and Shayna Baszler tomorrow. I think it'll be Liv.
They've broken out of all these boxes that they kept themselves in. This
Yes.
is over here, and don't let anybody get inside it, or don't let them break out of it. That box is there. Now they've shattered that box. Now they go to the next box, and they shatter that. Now they're mixing all these people together. So that's what makes wrestling fun. It's because you don't know where they're going, but they're setting all their characters up to be able to go anywhere, because now it kind of fits. Yeah. And sometimes when creative finds itself on that role, is a good place to find yourself in. Now, I'm sure going into the creative room now is a lot less stressful than when Vince was there. I've said this before, and you've read it too. They were booking for an audience of one. Now they may still be booking for an audience of one, but this audience of one has a lot of different interests.
Yeah.
And it's spread out, and now they have much more leeway. And I'm sure that creative, they're not afraid now or shy about voicing their opinions on just crazy ideas. Because I'm sure Triple H has heard more crazy ideas like we all have in this business. But yet you can take a crazy idea and grab something from it and use it somewhere else. Sometimes you just got to spring something in your head that says, I remember this thing we did way back when, whatever, and it fits what you're doing right then, and it becomes a part of what you're trying to put together at that very moment. So I'm sure creative is having a much better time now than they had before Vince exited the scene.
Yeah, and I remember being involved in a media scrum with Triple H SummerSlam week at an audition at the NXT tryout, and he said, "Look, I'll take ideas from literally anybody. Doesn't mean I'm going to take them, right? But I kind of stating, kind of like an open door policy. If you got an idea, I'm willing to hear from it. And yes." That again, I keep mentioning this interview with Ariel Helwani. If you haven't checked it out, I could not suggest it higher. He basically talking about how Vince told him he's got to make his decisions and book it as if, he were a fan of what he would like to see. And Triple H kind of broke down the fact that that's kind of what he's doing, but you can tell that he has different values as far as the wrestling product is concerned than Vince McMahon had. Jonathan Gill saying that Dutch, I agree. Raw is doing great too. Love the new regime with Triple H running things. Let's see. Ozzy's wanting to know, when is Charlotte Flair coming back? That's a great question. I thought she would have been back by now.
But in watching the show, I don't miss Charlotte Flair. Not right now. They got so much else going on.
Yeah. Here's what I hope. I hope Charlotte Flair comes back just in enough time to challenge Liv Morgan and lose. Because I think that no, in all seriousness now, I think, because they're going to come back and she's going to want to be in the title picture, and that's great. But the culmination for Liv Morgan's title reign needs to be a win over Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is Liv Morgan's white whale. She has never been able to beat her. Every time she thinks that she has reached a point in her career where she's ready to take the next level, she takes on Charlotte and she loses. She's ready to get up. She's ready to go to the next level. She takes on Charlotte Flair and she loses. That has been the story of Liv Morgan throughout her entire career. So I want Charlotte Flair to come back, challenge Liv Morgan, and have Liv Morgan finally get over the hump and beat Charlotte Flair. So that's what I hope they do. And then after that, Liv can drop the title at that point. I don't want Liv to lose the belt to Shayna this weekend. I want Shayna to win it at some point, but I don't want it to be this weekend. Dutch, what did you think about Karrion Kross's in-ring debut? He got his full NXT entrance that we were used to back in the day before he came up the first time and got absolutely everything changed on him. He squashed Drew Gulak tonight and then left him hanging with full Scream 2 vibes. I don't know if you get that reference, but it's a damn good one. What did you think about Karrion Kross tonight?
Believe it or not, I've never seen Karrion Kross have a match until tonight. I like his entrance. I like Scarlett. Beautiful woman. When she went out there, they're different. what is that? The crow flying? What is that? Is that a crow?
Yeah, I think it's a crow. Yeah.
And that's different. And he went in the ring. They got to be careful with this guy because he didn't cheat a bet on Drew Gulak. He just beat him up, which is okay.
Yeah.
But and you got to watch that if he continues that, the people won't dislike him. They will like him. So, but you got to put a baby face that they really love. If he messes a baby face up, now the people will turn against him. But I liked his entrance. I liked the match. It was short, exactly what it needed to be. And then they hung him up and left him hanging and walked away with the camera in front of him. And you saw Mr. Gulak tied up in the ropes. So
I absolutely love that. I loved that. I would love for that to be kind of like his calling card, just like, you know, back in the day. Like I see that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean, right, where after they've hung the pirates and they've killed them, and then they hang them out front of the town as like a warning to everybody else. I love that Cross is. I want him to do that after every win now, is to just hang his opponents up in a rope as a warning for whomever is coming next. I loved that.
They should do that on a live event too. He beats somebody, and when the people are leaving, right outside the front door, you see the guy hanging there. Yeah. That'd be great. All the kids could see that, and then you get his autograph. And I'm just saying, I'm just throwing some ideas out there. You know.
Hey, you know what? Call up Triple H. You know, he's ready to hear all those kind of crazy ideas. I'm sure, absolutely. We got Hit Row tonight versus Maximum Male Models. The match was okay. I thought the match was okay. I honestly would have liked to see Maximum Male Models get a win, but I understand you're trying to build up Hit Row. Okay, that's fine. We know where Maximum Male Model spot is on the card. I just have to say, Dutch, their entrance tonight for Maximum Male Models was on point. Everything about their entrance tonight, turning their entrance into the match into a mini fashion show with Max and Maxine doing their introduction, and they called Masse the height of fashion because he's the tall guy. I love a good pun. That was just cheesy enough to be perfect, right? Everything about the entrance just fit this group to a T, and I absolutely loved it. And then the match started, and all of a sudden Masse is like trying to wrestle sexy, which, you know, that's not an easy switch to make. And I thought he did a really, really good job at it in the opening sequences there. I thought, you know, that those are hard adjustments. They are all in on these characters.
Well, I'd rather them to be all in than their minds not made up. They're going to try to get them over. And who knows, they may get them over for a while. I said they were dead on arrival. I'm still kind of sticking to that because I think it's going to take a lot of work. As you can see tonight, they had to run in 2 more teams to close that segment down. But yeah, you invited more teams in, which gives you more opportunities for TV matches because now they've all been on the same set at the same time. So as for me, my jury is still out on the Maximum Male Models. So we'll see where they go with it. I'm interested in it.
I think we had 7 tag teams that were featured on the show tonight. 7 between the 4 that were in here, and then you throw in the Viking Raiders and the New Day. Usos obviously in the main event picture, and then technically, you know, if they'd get Sammy and Kevin back together, that would have been 7.5 tag teams.
Yeah, the Lotharios were there.
Yeah, exactly. They were one of the 4. Yeah,
Hit Row,
Profits,
and the Maximum Models. Yeah, 7 teams.
All of a sudden, they got a bit of a tag team division going there. How about that?
Now they got a roster.
Yeah.
They don't have bench. They don't have a
bench.
Roster.
That's what we've been begging for, is a bench.
Yep. They got it. So the match wasn't as bad as I thought it would be because it started off, you're looking at it and I'm thinking, I don't know about this. How's it going to? Because you sit back, you don't know what to think of it, but the way it ended up, actually, you had more options going out than you had coming in, which is a good thing.
I'm a big fan of Maxine. I think she is playing her role to a T, especially somebody who wasn't doing a whole lot in NXT to come up and they give her this role. I think she's really taken off and running with it.
Catch me up on this. Maxine is with who? Models?
Yeah, so Max's sister, the girl that they brought in. They brought her up. She wasn't doing a whole lot in NXT. Literally, all she was doing in NXT was like standing in the crowd. She went from standing in the crowd every week to doing what she's doing now, and I think she's excelling at it. A couple of things interested me here later on in the show. We had Happy Corbin issue an open challenge. That was answered by Nakamura. Nakamura beat him. Whatever. That's not what interests me because I've seen it. What interested me was afterwards, we see Happy Corbin backstage, big old limo with the bull horns pulls up. We all know who that was, Mr. JBL. He asks, what the hell happened? Happy Corbin, get on in my limousine, and they drove off. What is possibly going on there, Dutch? Does the idea of JBL and Happy Corbin, does it intrigue you? Does it have you asking questions?
It does, because JBL adds the entertainment value to it. And him and Corbin, going to be a lot of entertainment value between those two guys. And I'm looking forward to that. I should call Mr. JBL and talk to him a minute and see what the hell is going on. But I really,
get him on the show.
I really enjoyed that, because I saw it on Twitter first. Was that JBL? And I looked down, when it was posted. It was like a minute ago, but they were ahead of me, I guess. Yeah. And then I watched it, and there he pulls up and said, what the hell happened to you, or whatever. And he got in the car, they drove off. That's all you need. Now we got somewhere to go next week.
And I love, and it's new. It's something
new, totally new.
It's something new with Happy Corbin, other than I see everybody saying, because commentary said he hit rock bottom tonight. They're like, yeah, he's going back to the bum. I know there were a lot of people who really liked the bum. I was in the minority on that one, because I would prefer to see the Baron Corbin, monster type heel that I know that he can be. So maybe JBL becomes like a manager figure for now, hopefully Baron Corbin, if they come back and they can rename him, because we're getting some superstars who are getting their names back. Matt Riddle's Matt Riddle again. Mm-hmm. Austin Theory's Austin Theory again. I got another guy I'm going to bring up here in a minute, but some kind of character development with Happy Corbin where he can kind of mold and maybe be taken a little bit more seriously and be booked a little bit more seriously. That could be big for him. That could be big for WWE.
I think it already is big, because JBL, that's what you get when you bring back people they know. There's no get over time. He's already over. So all he's got to do is show up, and if people remember, and they got all this tape on him, whatever they want to do with him, it's already there, right at their fingertips. They can pull all that stuff up. And a lot of fans still remember JBL when he started. And he started like at least 20 years ago in WWE, didn't he? 18. Because I was his manager. I was his manager, and I think it was in mid-90s. So.
Well, that would have been 25 years ago now. 25, 30 years ago.
But you're right. So, damn, where'd the time go? But anyway, he was good then. I think he's better now. Maybe not in the ring, but, one thing he could do, he could talk. And
absolutely.
Together, I don't think you could ask for a better duo.
I'm intrigued. I want to see more. Another guy I want to see more of, and I don't know if I would have said this a few weeks ago, is Butch. And I will tell you why. Butch had a very good match against Ludwig Kaiser tonight.
Oh, that was great.
We didn't see Butch. That wasn't Butch. That was Pete Dunne. From the ring gear to the hair being let down to the moves that he did inside the ring, beating Ludwig with the bitter end tonight. You even had notes on commentary where he's saying this is looking like the Butch of the past. And I love Michael Cole's line at the end where he said, Kaiser is done. Pete Dunne, D-U-N-N-E. I'm hoping that these were Easter eggs that were dropped tonight. That means that we are going to be getting Pete Dunne back on SmackDown tonight. But this is what he brought to the table in NXT tonight, Dutch, and apparently he impressed you a little bit.
No, he did. That was a great match. Both these guys, super talented. I mean, they did things. I've never seen the finger deal done. That must have been one of his deals before.
Yeah, the joint manipulation. Yeah, it took me a while to watch his matches because that hurt me the first few times that I saw that. And I love the finish, right? Because Kaiser's going for the win, and then all of a sudden he just starts screaming, and Dunn's got the fingers, and then he's able to turn that into the to the bitter end and get the win there. So it kind of comes out of nowhere. You know, he's like a snake that just strikes. Yeah.
I used to read about Pete Dunne in NXT. UK, and I said, I should have taken time to watch him, but that was in my days where I just, after you've been involved with something so many years, you just want to get away from it. But I was impressed by that match tonight. It looked like for a while they were getting rid of Gunther's sidekick. What was his name? What is his name?
Ludwig Kaiser. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get rid of him. It'd be a mistake to get rid of him now.
Well, that's
he's proven himself.
Yes, the timing of that is not a coincidence, because back when we were doing all the he's losing and Gunther is chopping the hell out of him and this, that, and the other thing, that was while Vince was in charge. The very next week after Triple H takes over, that chopping stopped. So whatever was going on there, Triple H put a full stop to that and said no. And then a couple of weeks ago, we got a report that Gunther had fallen out of favor with Vince McMahon and was about to be buried. So that whole chopping stuff may have led to Kaiser kicking Gunther's butt, and then he drops the IC title and we never see him again, which would have been a mistake, because I have loved how Gunther has been presented.
Oh, I love Gunther. I think that's one of their best things they've done in recent years, because he's an impressive guy, takes it seriously. I remember they were doing a deal last week. It was like a commercial, and they were all making fun. And then Gunther says, "I am a wrestler." He didn't break his character, which I respected, because maybe he didn't want to do it or they didn't want him to do it. In either case, he didn't break it. So what you're seeing on TV is what he basically really is.
Yeah.
If he's going through an airport, I hope he goes through as Gunther. Doesn't change. He can sign an autograph as long as he didn't change his character. And that's where a lot of guys mess up, because they're supposed to be this big tough guy on TV. They go through an airport and they're laughing and caring. Totally different, which is not really that important. But I don't think Gunther would break his character, because I think that's what they expect from him. As long as he's nice and doesn't holler at anybody, he's fine. But first time I saw Gunther, I was impressed by him, because I always put myself in a position of creativity or creative. Yeah. He's easy to do something with. Yeah. Easy. So,
very easy. I've seen multiple people ask this. Jim Thumb saying, no more Lacey Evans, ? Wonder what happened to her. Last report we got was medically not cleared, which is still very interesting as to why she was taken off TV, because what she was doing was working. She was getting nuclear heat, not doing anything, literally just walking down to the ring and saying, "Hey, when you start respecting me, that's when I'm going to wrestle." They could have carried that for several more weeks. Now, unless she's going to be out for a few months, I don't know. Something is going on there. I don't know what it is, but
they had a good idea with her. Instead of her attacking her opponents, she was attacking the fans directly.
Yeah.
So they couldn't like her.
And it went beyond the you people stuff, right? It went beyond the you people stuff. It wasn't like, blaming them for anything. It was like, damn it, I'm an American hero. You're going to respect me or I'm not going to perform in front of you, which was technically a you people promo, but it was different, right? It's like, you're disrespecting me. You're disrespecting me for no damn reason. And by the way, she was right. She had a point. She was absolutely right.
I was surprised tonight, because I didn't know this. When did they have the match that Aaliyah, she won the titles?
Yeah, so Aaliyah and Raquel on Monday Night Raw in the main event won the women's tag team titles. Yeah. Aaliyah got the pinfall.
Well, they're a switcher team. They won't be champions long.
I don't think so, because Aaliyah pinned Dakota Kai, and Dakota was not the legal competitor. So I think they're going to revisit that. I think because you had Bayley who was involved, and then you had Bianca and Asuka and Alexa also come down and get involved. That whole match was kind of a setup for this big trios women's match that they got in Clash at the Castle tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the angle there, which I didn't like, because it devalues your women's tag team titles by using their titles to set up an angle for a trios match and then putting the belts on somebody else. Now, we could be wrong. They could be trying to build up a babyface tag team in Raquel and Aaliyah, and they wanted to establish them by putting them on those two, which I would understand, but it still seemed a little weird.
Raquel and Aaliyah, they're in the same mode with me as the Maximum Male Models. They're dead on arrival, because you can't keep these belts on them long, because, the talent competition, Raquel could probably hang with them, but the other little one, she can't do it. So I think they either do what you're talking about and just throw it open, I guess, on the Clash at the Castle, or they lose very soon.
Yeah,
I what I think.
And it doesn't make sense to have the belts on Raquel and Aaliyah if, and that's a big if, Sasha and Naomi come back at some point. It would have made much more sense to put them on Dakota and Io. But we'll have to wait and see.
They may have put them on them just for Sasha and Naomi to take them off of them when they come back.
Yeah, but you got a babyface versus babyface, plus you got history between Sasha and Bayley. That's why I think it made a little bit more sense. And honestly, I don't think Sasha and Naomi should come back and just get the dang titles. I think they should have challenged Dakota and Io, and Dakota and Io should have won, because that helps get them over, even though they're heels. So,
Well, what we're saying is they have a lot of options. It doesn't look as near as bleak as it did a month ago.
Oh.
Now they have choices. Like we were talking about Tony Khan, he has choices.
Yeah.
Now Triple H has choices because he made those choices.
Yeah, he brought back people. He brought back people, and he brought back the belts. He actually put a tournament together. I think he rushed it just a little bit. But this time last week, we didn't have women's tag team champions. We haven't had them for 3 months. Yep. At least now we have them. So that's a good thing. And I'm hoping they'll be booked better moving forward. I'm sorry?
Are you happy now?
I am happy now, yes.
Well, if you're happy,
I'm always happy.
Hell.
Let's talk about the MVP of SmackDown tonight, which was Mr. Sami Zayn. He just put on another incredible performance tonight with those backstage segments where he's got the tuxedo on that's supposed to have tribal print on it, but it's not really tribal print, and Jay is still giving him shit.
It wasn't red either. It was like maroon, but it was close.
Yes. So, he's got his hair up in the man bun because he thinks that's what it looks snazzy, right? And he's setting up all this big party for Roman Reigns. And we get multiple backstage segments. Karrion Kross making his presence known there by sending him like the diseased black dead roses, right? And Sammy's like sniffing his fingers afterwards. That was a nice little calling card there. This all sets up for the big main event scene where they're going to celebrate Roman Reigns' 2-year anniversary as WWE Universal Champion. And they do all these great video. Hell, I think we have 5 video packages tonight for Roman Reigns, which was perfect, by the way, because they did the celebration there. Because if they had done all those 5 video packages and then came out in the main event and then celebrated Roman more, it would have been overkill at that point. They did the video packages so that they could celebrate Roman and then do what they did in the main event, where Drew McIntyre showed up, kicked the head off of Roman as he stepped out of the car, came down to the ring and just decimated the bloodline, left him laying. He cut his big babyface promo. And now all of a sudden last week, we're talking about, oh man, they put all these packages together for Drew. He's getting his ass kicked. It's his home crowd in the UK. He's getting this world title shot. It's his moment. They're going to give him the make good after he beat Brock Lesnar in the main event in front of no fans at WrestleMania 36. Now he's going to get his big moment to, okay, now on the go home show, he's standing tall. Where are you sitting on this one, Dutch? I've had several people ask in the chat already, who's winning tomorrow between Roman and Drew? Are you leaning Roman's way or are you leaning Drew's way?
I'm still going Roman's way. The way. That's what I think. Even though they're in Wales at Clash at the Castle, I guess they call it. That's the name
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
But
It's harder to say than you think.
it's two years in the making, and to take it off of him now, I don't know. I think I don't know, but I think Roman's going to walk out there with it. Will Karrion Kross be a part of it? Could be, but you got to watch that.
I think the wild card here is Austin Theory, because he's still Mr. Money in the Bank. He could get involved in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that he should, but so much of the build between Roman and Brock at SummerSlam was around Austin Theory that you knew he was going to get involved in the match, but nobody really thought that he would cash in because they telegraphed it a little too much. They made it too much of the story. You figured he was going to screw up. Now, all of a sudden, no one's talking about him. It can be that genuine surprise to where Austin could cash in during this match and somebody could beat Theory to win the match, which might be Drew Claymore kicks Austin Theory, pins Theory after he makes it a triple threat.
You know, we're throwing all these predictions around. That's exactly why people watch, because they don't really know. They're leaning certain ways. This is what I see. This is what you see. But I think, you know, they could bring Theory in, but I know Theory could come but not cash in too. That's different. Yeah. And he could just back out. As long as he doesn't lose the case, he's okay. So, but I still think we're going to see Roman, because they have a 2-year investment in this guy. 2 years, over 700 days. And just put it on Drew to put it on Theory, I think they will burn 3 bridges to cross one. That's what I'm thinking. But I still think we're going to see Roman come out on top. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. This is the last time I appear on this show.
Don't say that, because if you're not here, I'm not here. And I need this job. I got kids. I need this job. The vibe that I'm getting now, and my prediction for this match has changed pretty much every single day. The vibe that I'm getting now, and the story that I think makes the most sense, is Sami Zayn, who is trying his damnedest to get into the bloodline, become family. Jey Uso keeps, kicking him down and saying, "You ain't blood yet," right? He goes out there to try and prove himself to the bloodline and help Roman Reigns win, and he screws up, and he ends up costing Reigns the title. He goes to kick Drew, and he kicks Roman, or some BS like that. Something. Sami Zayn screws up big time and costs Roman Reigns the world titles. And then that accelerates the Usos going after Sami. Sami can hook up with Kevin Owens, and then you can start that whole process there. Roman Reigns can take some time off, because he's probably going to take time off after Clash at the Castle anyway, because he's got a part-time schedule now, or a more part-time schedule. I think that's the ending that makes more sense to me, and I think might actually be the direction that they go.
Let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
After Drew McIntyre,
yes,
who is next on the bench?
As far as baby faces to face Roman Reigns?
No, for Drew.
Oh, for Drew?
No,
it's Karrion Kross.
No, for baby faces. You're right.
Okay, so baby faces to challenge Roman, who? So let's say if Roman wins, who's next?
Yes. Which adds more credence to your Austin Theory.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, it's probably Kevin Owens.
Take into account.
It would probably be Kevin Owens, because Owens has been levying for that match. If you're going for baby faces, and I think Owens is kind of a tweener right now, I think Owens would make sense. They already did Matt Riddle. Cody Rhodes is hurt. Honestly, it might be, unless, an Abel. Yeah, I swear to God, I thought it and you typed it. Wrong one. Unless you're bringing back somebody else, like a major baby face, I think Bray Wyatt makes a ton of sense, because Roman 2 years ago took the title off of Bray by beating somebody else, and Bray never got his rematch. So I think if Triple H can talk Bray into coming back to the company, and he shows up as that big baby face, and he's the guy to challenge Roman next, I think that makes a ton of sense.
You just said something that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If Triple H can talk Bray into coming back into the company, what was Bray making before?
A ton of money. A ton of money.
How much did Triple H have to do to say, come on back? I read he was making $5 million. I have trouble believing that, but he could be.
I mean, it depends on how much percentage I guess he gets from merchandise sales as well. But
after $5 million, who cares?
I'm with you. I'm with you. But I think a lot of it comes down to, creative. I think that is if Bray was making $5 million a year, he's got money. Money ain't a thing right now.
Right.
At least I would hope he has it. So it's okay. Well, am I going to come back, and are you guys going to, ruin every character that I do again? I think there would have to be some assurances made, I would think.
Well,
does Bray even want to wrestle anymore? That's another question. He hasn't shown up anywhere else since he's been let go, but I think it would make a ton of sense. And Paul, I agree with you. Cross would be next if Drew wins. They've already set that up. That's a home run.
Yeah, Cross is your next champion.
But would they do heel Cross against heel Reigns? I don't know. Even though Cross has put Reigns on.
But I think if they do Cross and Reigns is full babyface for that time.
They got to find a way to flip him, but I'm sure it's easier said than done.
They just got to book him. Yeah. He'd flip automatically. That's my opinion. So
I would agree with Rollins as well. I think he's an option, especially if they're going to be bringing Cody back at the Rumble to win, and they've already set up Cody and Seth for. So,
but Seth Rollins is on Raw, correct?
Yeah, but Romans can go on either show. He's got both belts.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins
one champion. It's a floating.
But I think Seth and Matt Riddle are going to run a couple months.
I'm looking forward to that one tomorrow.
Yep,
that'll be good.
That'll be good.
I think there's only like 6 matches on this card, and I think it's going to be a lot of ass whooping on this for sure. So, all right,
one of the better pay-per-views they put together, really.
It's Triple H's first baby as pay-per-view. Like, this is the first full pay-per-view that he's put together, and honestly, it's like very structured, like an NXT takeover. 6 matches that they've invested in and that they built up into, and that's it. That's all you need. You don't need to load it up. Like, compare this show tomorrow, Dutch, 6 matches, to All Out on Sunday night that has now 15 matches because they added a mixed tag match to the pre-show. 15. See,
bigger is just not necessarily better. It's how much steam each match has, each segment has. So you say, I've been on some cards, and every match had a little stinger to it, a little angle behind it. So when you see a match, it's just not just a match. It actually means something. And then you can have 6 matches, 7 matches. You're going to probably draw the same amount anyway. Because how big is that stadium? 70,000? Is it sold out? Should be.
In Cardiff, Wales?
Yep.
Yeah. They could have 100,000 people there.
100,000?
Yeah.
Hey, this has nothing to do with wrestling, but you know that spaceship they're going to put up tomorrow afternoon about 2 o'clock? They're going to have a holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend. They think they're going to have 400,000 people in that area watching it live. Not on TV, but watching it live go up.
I'd crazy. I'd be there.
I can actually see it from my house. I mean, when it gets up a little bit, if it's a clear day. So,
for your sake, I hope it's a clear day tomorrow. We did get a couple of super chats I want to get to. Roland Curtis saying, I want Lacey to beat Liv to get Belair and Evans at Survivor Series. I'd also rather see Lashley versus Gunther at Survivor Series. Believe me, I think we're getting that match. His question, do you think that Triple H will bring back old school Survivor Series? If by old school, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Just like setting up, regular, like old, like blood feuds to be the Survivor Series match as opposed to just Raw versus SmackDown. I don't know, man. I would hope. I think they got to get away from the brand versus brand battle for supremacy because I don't think anybody cares. I would like to see actual, like, blood rivalries. Like if Becky was able to come back in time for Survivor Series and you were able to put Team Becky together against Team Bayley and then put them inside War Games, I would much rather see that than here's 5 SmackDown superstars, here's 5 Raw superstars, and go at it. That does nothing for me.
Yep.
Now, I do want to see Gunther and Lashley throw down, but that's for completely different reasons other than battle of brand supremacy, like, in all honesty.
That would be a good match.
It would be a spectacular match, especially after Lashley told me he doesn't think that Gunther's chop would hurt him. Now there's nothing more that I want to see than Gunther try to cave in the chest, that big, meaty, almighty chest of Bobby Lashley. And then to start off the show, we had Ozzy earlier. Rick, how about the Bengals getting their revenge on the Rams? Oh, hell yeah. Ozzy, I mean this with every ounce of my fiber. I would have preferred the Bengals to win the first time around because the preseason don't mean shit, especially compared to the freaking Super Bowl. I still ain't going to get over that one. All right.
University of Cincinnati, where are they ranked in preseason so far?
They are 23rd, going up against number 19 Arkansas tomorrow. That's going to be tough.
I think they should be better than 23rd.
Well, the problem is their quarterback situation is not great. They just lost Des Ridder, who had been starting for the last 4 years. Now he's battling out with Marcus Mariota in Atlanta to start there for the Falcons. Yeah, they got 2 quarterbacks. Neither one of them have looked great in game, but they got a hell of a running game. They got a good offensive line. They got a good defense. So I'm hoping they'll able to pound the rock, kill the clock, and beat Arkansas tomorrow.
Clemson, national champions again. No, I don't think they'll get it, but they're in the top 5. They're like number 4 now, so good luck to them. All right, hey, man, we're hour and 20 minutes in. Got to go.
Yeah, I got to go before somebody yells at me. Plus, I still have to pack for Chicago. I love my job. All right, Dutch, we'll be back next week, man. Appreciate you. Thank you guys, everybody who participated in the chat. Ricky saying, what spaceship? Look up the Artemis. All right, we're going back to the moon.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going back to the moon, finally.
Hey, we do more than just wrestling here. We give you actual news.
We give you everything.
Okay.
I mean, I am a news anchor, but now I'm going to leave.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.